Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Hope everybody had a good weekend, survived the time change. Busy weekend for me, and not revolving around golf. But before I get into that, I wanted to start with what we talked a little bit about last week, which was Reggie had recommended. Well, first he had recommended a movie, but once I found out it was a book, decided to read the book called 7 Days in Utopia. And the hope was that the book would help me with the mental side of the golf game and some of the struggles that I've been going through. So I want to talk a little bit about the book. And as the book opens up, it follows a young golf professional who's a good golfer, trying to find his way onto the PGA Tour. He's competing in a mini tour event in Texas. On the final day of the tournament, he's in the final group, 2 shots off the lead, has a decent front 9, but finds himself 3 out of the lead going into the back. Gets to the 10th hole and everything falls apart. He puts up a 15th on the 10th hole on his way to shooting 54 on the back for a final round of 90. So after a disastrous finish, he gets in his car and he starts driving west through Texas. He comes to a fork in the road and there's a sign, and the sign pointing to the right is to a town called Vanderpool. Pointing to the left is a town called Utopia. He decides to go left, go to the town of Utopia. He stops at a restaurant to get something to eat, and this kicks off him meeting a rancher who had built a small golf course in Utopia, and the two of them spend the next 7 days together with the rancher trying to help the young golfer to get over some of the challenges that he had been facing on the golf course. And really, most of those challenges did not revolve around his skill level or his ability to hit shots. They were mental hurdles that he had to overcome. The book is fictional. It's written by Dr. David L. Cook, who's a sports psychologist. It's based on his experiences throughout his career in working with high-level athletes and trying to help them to conquer the mental part of their game. And it wasn't just golfers. Football players, basketball players, Olympic athletes. Has a pretty impressive list of people that he has worked with. Easy read. I think it was 150 pages, 11 chapters. I thought the first 8 chapters were really good. I enjoyed them. Good story, moved along, and I thought there were some nuggets in there that were potentially helpful. The last 3 chapters get preachy, religious, and I still think it's a worthwhile book. I think it's a worthwhile read. Clearly, the author has certain religious beliefs, and over the last 3 chapters of the book, he makes that very clear. It makes me a little uncomfortable in that I think people have the right to believe whatever they want to believe or not believe religiously. And through the first 8 chapters, he did a great job of telling a story without bringing God into the book. The last 3 chapters changed, and I think he could have gotten to the same place. Look, the last 3 chapters are really about there's more important things in life than what you write down on your golf scorecard. Be a good person, help others, and understand your priorities in life. And golf is not the be-all, end-all. And I think he could have said that without bringing religion into the book. But hey, it's his book. Like I said, I still think it's a good read. I guess I just felt a little bit like getting I really enjoyed the first 8 chapters. And at that point, I was a fish on a hook, and he had me and was then able to stand on his pulpit and preach to me for the last 3 chapters. It's his right. No one forced me to read the book. I didn't have to keep reading. I wanted to see how the story turned out. And I'm glad I read it. Worthwhile book. That's my review. If you can get past some of the preaching, it's the best way I can put it, over the last 3 chapters, and you're somebody who has struggled with not just your golf game, it could be anything where you feel like physically you have the ability to do it, but mentally you're struggling a little bit, I think it's a good read. So here's some of my key takeaways from the book. Is one of the things that he mentioned is that golf is the worst practiced sport on the face of the earth. And that quite often people practice golf on a driving range or on a simulator from a perfect flat surface and hit the same club over and over and over again until they hit it well. And they think that that's practice. And the fictional golf coach in the story talks about how important it is to be on the golf course and be creative and learn to hit different kind of shots and know that you're not always, maybe never, going to have that perfect lie, perfect distance. And it made me think about my own practice regimen, which has been heavily indoors. And it's something that I've got to find a way to change. And Reggie recommended the story. So when I go back to Golf Tech this week, I'm going to bring the book with me and I'm going to talk about that paragraph and how important it is. And I do it. I do go out on the golf course and practice and chip and putt and do different things. But I do think it's one of the flaws in the Golf Tech program is being outside with a coach more often, I think would be really helpful. Some of the other things that were discussed in the book is having a mental checklist before every shot. And that checklist was see it, feel it, trust it. I also thought it was interesting that he talked about golf is one of, if not the only sport where you are not looking at the target while you're playing the sport. So, for example, if you're playing basketball and you're taking a shot, you are looking at the rim, you are looking at the basket. If you're playing football, American football, and you're throwing a pass, you're looking downfield to see the field, see the man that's open, and throw the ball to that person. Same thing if you're playing the other football, soccer, is you've got a view of the field and it's in front of you as you play. Golf is the only sport where you look up, you take a snapshot, a mental picture of what the golf course looks like, and then you look straight down at the golf ball and hit a shot. And reading it did make me think a lot about how important that mental picture is that you take, because it is a really quick snapshot. And that's the see it part, right? Is really see it and stand over the ball and survey the course and find the potential dangers. There's water right. I can't miss right. There's a bunker front left. I don't want to be short and in that bunker. If you're too long, you're over the green and down a hill. But really seeing it. And then once you see it, knowing what your shot's going to be. And personally, too often, I think that my thought process is I just want to hit it 150 yards and be in the middle of the fairway or in the middle of the green. And I don't spend enough time thinking about, well, I don't want to be in the middle of the fairway because from the middle of the fairway, it brings that bunker to the left into play. I'd really rather be right edge of the fairway, maybe even right rough, because it takes that front bunker out of play and I have a better shot into the green. And then if you have the skill and the ability to do it, what's this shot going to look like? What's the shot shape going to be? I'm going to draw this one in. I'm going to hit a fade. I'm going to hit this one high. I'm behind a tree and I've got branches in the way. So I'm going to hit this low about 50 yards and then roll it up onto the green another 20. And it's really this process of, again, seeing it, taking that picture, but then thinking about what is the shot that I want to hit. And then once you've done that, trusting it, you've got the snapshot, you know what kind of shot you want to hit. Now you look down at the ball, trust what you've just gone through, and take your shot. And the coach in the book tells the golfer that what he wants him to do as he goes out to play golf is to keep two scores. And one score is just what's the score on the hole. Right? Let's say it's a par four. Then he takes four shots. So he's going to write down a four. He made par. But out of those four shots, how many times did he follow the process? Did he follow it on all four shots? Did he follow it on three out of the four shots? And the goal is to not be so consumed with the score, but to be more consumed with the process. And if you follow the process, trust the process, you're still going to hit some bad shots. But if you do, you're going to get to the ball again and you're going to go back through the same process again. And I liked that. I thought that was a pretty smart way to look at it. And it removes the connection from the score a little bit to just say, hey, I'm following the process. I'm doing the right things. I hit a bad shot there. I made bogey. That's okay. It was par four. I put up 5 shots, but I followed the process all 5 times. And then last but not least, and this is really out of those final 3 chapters, is that a good or a bad day on the golf course does not define who I am. There's so many things, even for a guy who's trying to make a living on the PGA Tour, there's so many things that are more important in life than whatever number he just wrote down on a scorecard. And especially for us amateurs. Yeah, we talked about it. It can be a maddening, frustrating game, but there's so much more to life that there's just no reason to let a bad number, a bad score ruin your day on the golf course. Get back, focus on the process, and keep working at it. So all in all, I felt good about my purchase, enjoyed reading the book, thought I would share it here on the podcast. And if there's some things that mentally you think you could use some help with in your golf game, it's not a bad read. So that takes me to the weekend. And last week I discussed that I had a busy weekend coming up, that my youngest son was making his MMA debut in Tampa, Florida, which is, we live on the East Coast of Florida. This is on the West Coast of Florida. So we left Friday morning and traffic was terrible. Well, just a terrible drive over to Tampa. We got there Friday afternoon, had some events that night, a weigh-in, a press conference, a normal fighter face-off. Then went out, got something to eat, back to the hotel to get some sleep. And while I, again, had really thought about just not playing any golf all weekend, I knew I was going to have some time on Saturday morning. The fight wasn't until Saturday evening. We had all day to spend at the hotel room. So I talked to my son and I said, hey, do you mind if I go out and play golf on Saturday morning? I said, I'll be back here by noontime. And he's like, no, I'm just going to be hanging out here anyway. So I had made a tee time at West Chase Golf Club in Tampa. And it was excited about it. Everything I read it online, nice golf course. And it goes back to one of my New Year's resolutions, which was I wanted to play at least 10 different golf courses this year in 2026. And so far, I've only played one. I played at my normal Oriole every week. So it was an opportunity. It was an opportunity to go out and play a different course. Get up early on Saturday morning. It's 6:15. I'm on my way to the golf course. I get a call, and it's the golf course telling me that they're closed. That it had rained really hard the night before. Golf course hadn't drained, and they were canceling morning tee times. So I don't know. Maybe it was just the universe's way of telling me, take a break from golf. Don't go out there and play. So went back to the hotel, hung out with my son. Later on that evening, he did, and congratulations, Marshall, put on a great performance, won his debut MMA fight. As a parent, difficult to watch, but he was well trained. He was well prepared. It's kind of like we're talking about on the golf course. He went out there with a game plan. The game plan came together. He came out of the fight with not a mark on him and his first victory. So again, congrats to Marshall. We went out Had dinner on Saturday night after the fight. The clocks changed overnight from Saturday to Sunday and moved forward. So we were up early on Sunday morning to make the trip back. We set the alarms for 5, which was really 4 a.m., but the clocks had moved ahead. Got back on the road and made the trip home. While it was foggy, traffic wasn't an issue. And while the trip over took us 5.5 hours, the trip back only took us 3.5, which was great. So home by about 9:30 on Sunday morning, got unpacked, got some things done, took a quick hour power nap, and then decided that I was going to go out to Oriole and get in a round of golf on Sunday afternoon. The good news, but first of all, it was a beautiful day. And I went into the round with very low expectations. I was on 4 hours of sleep. Honestly, I didn't sleep much all weekend. So tired, low expectations, not playing with my normal groups. And actually, when I got to the course, the group that I would normally play with on Sunday had just finished my normal tee time. I got to see them on their way out and got hooked up with 2 really good guys. So I played golf Sunday afternoon with Brennan and Andy, and it reminded me of how important, if I could go back, I guess, to the New Year's resolution list, one of the things I'd put on there, in addition to I want to go out and play different courses, is I want to go out and play with different people. It's great to have a regular group that you go out and play with. It's comfortable. You enjoy people. But I miss meeting new people and just engaging, talking, learning a little bit about new people out on the golf course. And I think Brennan and Andy were absolutely what I needed on Sunday. So if you guys are listening, thank you. I told you after we were done that I really enjoyed our time together, meant it, and hopefully I get to play with you guys again sometime. But younger guys, and I guess lots of people are younger than me, but I didn't ask. I would guess that they were in their 30s, both very athletic. Their swing speed had to be, I don't know, it looked like it was double what mine was. So when they hit the ball well, they were really hitting the ball well. But they just enjoyed being out there. They enjoyed being out there with each other. Was every shot great? No. But again, they enjoyed the game. They enjoyed being out there playing golf. And like, that's what it's all about. Everybody wants to, I don't care what you shoot. If you shoot 100, you wish you had shot 95. If you shot 95, you wish you had shot 85. If you shot 85, you wish we all want to play better golf. But the reality is all you can do is stand over a shot, hit it as best you can. And at the end of the day, the score will be what the score will be. I don't know if I struggled. I'd say that the front, yeah, I mean, that's probably fair. I could say that I did struggle a little bit. I don't know that I hit a good drive off the first tee, but my next couple of shots, I couldn't get the ball up in the air. A couple of worm burners, but went out and made bogey on the first hole, which given how it started wasn't so bad, and shot 44 on the front. Again, good time. It was fun to be out with 2 different people who enjoyed playing the game. Good conversations. I was able to help offer a little local knowledge about the golf course. But as the day went on, and there were a couple times throughout the day that and it started on the first hole. I don't think I started recording my score. Usually I come off the first hole. On my way to the second hole, I have the GIN app open and I'm keying everything in. I forgot to put a score in until I got to the third hole. And a couple times throughout the day that happened, that I'd get through a couple of holes and think, oh, I need to go back and put in scores for those holes, which to me indicated that the score wasn't what mattered to me on Sunday. I didn't go out with this pressure, these expectations of having to put up a good round of golf. I just wanted to go out and play and have a good time, enjoy the afternoon with a couple of, good guys that I had just met. And it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be out there to play. So back nine, even better. Ended up shooting 41 on the back for an 85 on the day. The best round of golf that I've played in quite some time. And it wasn't perfect. I made some mistakes, hit some bad shots, but I did think back to the book and tried to focus on the process. I didn't keep score, which I should have, in that how many shots on that hole did I follow the process. But I can tell you, there are a couple of moments where I was standing over a shot. Sometimes it was a putt, sometimes it was a drive, sometimes it was an approach shot, and backed off thinking, I really didn't go through the process here. I didn't take the time to take a good snapshot, a good picture in my mind of what I'm trying to do here. I haven't thought about the shot shape. I haven't looked at potential hazards, danger, thought about where I want to leave this shot. There's a putt that I remember pretty well. I was on the fringe, so I could not line up the putt, couldn't mark the ball. And I just walked up, I stood over it, was getting ready to hit. And I'm thinking, like, what am I doing here? Back off. Let's find a spot on the green. Let's take a minute. Is it uphill? Is it downhill? Is it breaking left to right, right to left? And I think my initial thought was, I'm not going to make this putt. So I just want to get the speed right and lag it up there. And that's probably still true, but there's nothing wrong with having a target. There's nothing wrong with finding a spot on the green that maybe is a little discolored, looks a little different to aim for, to ensure that I hit a putt on a line that I believe is going to get it to the hole. And then again, taking a moment to think about speed. How much fringe does this have to go through? Am I starting uphill and then going downhill? So I did catch myself a couple of times moving too quickly, slowed down, tried to survey the shot before I, whatever it was, swung the putter, hit the driver, hit the iron. I again hit driver really well on Sunday. And that's a couple of weeks in a row now, which means I'm almost to a place where it's going to go away again. But starting to have a little confidence with driver, struggled with the mid-range irons a little bit. But again, all in all, I went out on Sunday, no expectations, made a couple of new friends, had a great day on the golf course, shot an 85, which again gets me back to that place to where I think, yeah, if it all comes together, I can go out there and break 80. And it was just a good day. So the other funny thing that happened on Sunday is I was getting ready to ask Brennan and Andy if they were YouTube golf fans, because I just thought it would be a good topic of conversation. And before I could ask the question, I think it was Andy hit a good shot. And he said, that looked like a George Bryan shot. And I immediately knew that, yeah, these guys were YouTube golf fans. When I asked the questions, Andy's like, yeah, I got a problem. I've got an addiction to YouTube golf. So, kindred souls as far as that goes. But one of the things I have noticed on the YouTube golf front is that these guys are figuring it out. So when I say these guys, the Bryan brothers, Grant Horvath, Good Golf, some of the spinoffs, Brad Dahlke, Sean Walsh, they're taking trips together and putting together a ton of content over a short period of time so that when it comes out, you've got one video on the Bryan Brothers channel, and the next one's on Brad Dahlke's channel, and the next one's on Sean Walsh's channel, and the next one's on Grant Horvath's channel, which is really smart. But for the first time in my YouTube golf history, I almost can't keep up. They are putting out so much content that, and a lot of these they're not 15 minutes. They're, I'd call 45 minutes on the short end. So on the long end, they could be 2.5 or 3 hours. So plenty of times the most I could watch in a day is one of these videos. And again, between Good and the Bryan brothers and Bob Does Sports and Grant Horvath, they're overwhelming me a little bit. They're getting a lot of content out there. And add Bryce into the mix. It's a good thing. It gives me choices and options. I'm just wondering, there's a little supply and demand thing going on, if it's getting a little watered down. I don't always love it as much as I had at one time. Now, not that any of these guys are listening, but if you are, I get it. I think it's really smart the way that everybody's working together on these videos and getting out more and more content. And when I look at the counts on YouTube, they're certainly not getting less views. I think this world is growing. And when, again, I get to play with younger people like I did this weekend, who enjoy YouTube golf, enjoy getting out there on the golf course. They're not out there throwing clubs, breaking clubs over their knees when they hit a bad shot. Like, they get it. They're out there having a good time, enjoying the game of golf. I love it. I think that the future of recreational golf is in good hands with guys like Brennan and Andy out there playing golf. So I think that's it for this week. Quick one. I said it was almost a golfless week, but I was happy that I got out and was able to get in the round at Oriole on Sunday. This coming week, things should largely be back to normal. Lesson, a couple rounds of golf, back to the grind. But the little break was good. I needed it. It was helpful. I do think that a few of the ideas from the book will be helpful. And if you'd like to read the book, I would like to give away a copy of 7 Days in Utopia to a listener. So if you listen to this, you think you'd be interested in reading the book, send me an email. Be creative, be funny, be mean, be whatever you want to be. I'll take my favorite email and I will send that listener a copy of 7 Days in Utopia. It's an exciting giveaway, guys. It's $9.99 worth of book. But as always, I appreciate you listening, and I'll be back next week. We'll do it all over again. Thanks, everybody. Hold on, pause, wait, don't go anywhere. I believe I forgot to mention, if you'd like to be considered for the book giveaway, send me an email at breaking80over50@gmail.com. That's where I'll take the emails. Again, I'll read them all. My favorite one, be happy to send you a copy of the book, and maybe it'll help your golf game. If you made it this far, thank you. I can't tell you how much it means to me that you hung in there for the whole show. If you enjoyed it, please rate, review, and subscribe. And maybe even share it with a friend who is out there on their own golf journey. If you listen on Spotify, leave a comment or a question, or send me an email at breaking80over50@gmail.com. I promise I'll read every one. All music was provided by Epidemic Sound. I'll leave links to any of the content that I mentioned in the show notes. Keep swinging, keep smiling, and remember, it's a game. Get out there and have fun. Thanks, everybody.